So here I am in the car park at Cwm Cywarch. I'm about to start on another Welsh epic. So just heading out of the car park, little stream outside, Arun Fawddwy. 3¼ miles to the left or 3½ to the right. The right is a path that traverses a hillside, the left goes up to the gully and looks like it could be a more scenic route. So that's the one that I'm going to tackle. Beautiful little stream here, which is promising for the water at the top. I don't have enough water to last me. I'm just carrying enough up to tide me by. I'm heading up there. So it's not the most auspicious start. Because the forecast is so good, I elected to leave my waterproof trousers in the car and just walking up, just looking at the sky. Last thing I want to do is fill my boots up with rainwater. So I'm just quickly heading back down 100 yards or so to the car park, grab my trousers as well as my coat, just in case. Don't want to get wet. Apparently, Arun Fawddwy is one of the lesser known peaks, and if you look at the path I'm walking up, you can see it's not very well frequented by people. Having to battle my way through the bracken. It's the southernmost of the over 900 metre peaks. Depending on where you get your information from, it's either 905 metres or it's 911 metres. Either way, it's pretty big. Not quite 3,000 feet, but only about 30 feet off of it. So a high mountain, and I'm starting off from just over 130 metres. So there's an awful lot of ascent to do to get up to the summit for tonight's planned camp. Welcome to Wales. This should tick off my August wild camp. I've come over here on a Friday, 6-hour drive over. Quite a nice drive actually, not too many holds up on the way. Parked really easily in the car park that I was worried might be full from what I'd read, and it wasn't, which is good. And now I'm probably only 100 feet up or so, but there's already a pretty gorgeous view down there, as you can see. And I'm heading up there to Arun Fawddwy. I've already hit a very minor snag, which is a bit irritating more than anything. Because I went back down to the car to pick up my waterproof trousers, my watch decided I'd finished the route. Now I've carried on up here, I can't get back to start navigating the route again without losing the track that I've already done. So I lose the beginning of the trip. Bit of a short-sightedness on the part of Garmin. Don't allow you to start navigating while you're already recording an activity. I know you can do that on the Garmins that you use for cycling. No idea why you can't do it on the watch. It's a real pain. It means I'm going to have to navigate by map. Oh God. Should be fairly easy though. Not too many paths up here. 250 miles away in the southeast, back at home. It's about between 25 and 28 degrees over there. Over this side of the country, there's dappled shade with some cloud cover, and it's 18 degrees according to the car as I arrived here, which are much more pleasant conditions for lugging a 20+ kilo rucksack, 770 odd metres of ascent up the hillside. So this is the lake at the top. It's not quite dried up, but it doesn't look particularly savoury in the areas I can reach. I can't really get to the clear water in the middle, so I think I'm going to have to forego this because this is all really quite soft in there. It's been a lot of water I've found elsewhere, so I'm sure if I carry on I'll find some more It's not as if I'm too short at the moment. I've got enough to last me to the morning. As I come over this brow here, my destination looms into view. So up onto this rise, and the craggy peak up there with the crags in shadow. That's Arun Fawddwy. My destination for the tonight, 905 or 911 meters. I think it's about a 1.5 mile walk from here. Been going for a couple of hours now and haven't actually seen another soul apart from the guy parking his car who's got a holiday cottage here in the car park at the beginning. Otherwise, not seen anybody at all, not even many sheep. It's really quite desolate up here. At the moment, just over 600 meters. So I've done about 2/3 of the climbing so far. Another 300 meters to go to reach the top of that mountain ahead of me there. I've got about 2 hours of daylight left as well. So plenty of time to get up there and to make a camp before hopefully getting a nice sunset. Well, I've just walked off of the actual path because I can hear running water over here. According to the map, there is, hey, look at this, running water, a stream, fabulous. Look how clear that is as well. Oh, I'm going to get the water filter out. It's beautifully quiet up here, there's no noise at all, and you can see the rest of Cwm Cywarch has come into view over there. Quite an impressive set of peaks and quite a nice view over that way as well. Unfortunately, I'm beginning to think I've bitten off more than I can chew for this hike. Got about 45 minutes now till sunset. I've still got 150 meters of ascent to go. Just over 750 meters up. So I've climbed about 650 so far. It's really hard going. The peak isn't far over my shoulder up there. Less than half a kilometre, 150 metres. So I'm going to carry on going and hopefully I'll make it there. It'll be disappointing if I don't. It's also disappointing that my A battery in my GoPro is playing up. I had 51% left and it'd only record for about 10 seconds and then stop. So put the B battery in now. Good old B battery. Right, let's get on, see if I make it to the top. Well, morning. Woken up with clag as far as the eye can see. Can't really see anything up here at all. Didn't see any sunrise. Had a really good sleep though. Didn't wake up until nearly 7 o'clock in the morning because it's so quiet up here. Got down to about 6 degrees last night and the wind kept on coming up, just rattling the straps on my tent, which woke me up a couple of times. Still felt very rested this morning. So disappointing that the clag's in. The end of the trek up here yesterday didn't go quite according to plan, and I never actually reached the summit of Arun Fawddwy. So I found somewhere relatively sheltered from the breeze that was picking up at about 8:50, just before sunset, and pitched my tent. It wasn't an ideal spot at about 840 meters, so still a 65 meters to go ascent to the summit, but it really didn't have it in me. pitched the tent just as the sun was going down, just caught the tail end of the sunset, and tried to have something to eat, but I just felt really sick, so I couldn't actually eat anything. So retired to bed straight away, and I say slept really soundly. Definitely think in cases like this, while it's really good to push yourself, and it's really good to try to get yourself to do something that is well out of your comfort zone, last night I really shouldn't have carried on. So I pitched up here. It's not the ideal spot. Pitched the tent fairly quickly. It was on a bit of a slope, so I had to lay over one side of my tent propped up against my sleeping bag. As I say, it didn't stop me sleeping really well. I think I was exhausted. I think that was why I slept so well. I feel much better this morning. Got up and I've eaten my tuna and rice that I should have eaten last night had it cold this morning. I've also eaten a Wayfarer's breakfast this morning, so I'm fully loaded, and had a double coffee. Now I need to think about packing everything up and get to the top of the mountain, and hopefully the clag will clear. There are the vaguest little bits of blue in the sky up there at times that then pass by. Hopefully now the sun's been up for a couple of hours, it might start burning this clag off, and I might get the view down into the valley, because there's a really beautiful view apparently down to the lake on the valley floor. So let's get everything packed up and get back on the trail. See you soon. Okay, packed up, ready to go. Clag is just about starting to lift now, and there's my spot. As you can see, my spot was far from flat, but it was at least sheltered from the breeze, and leave no trace, as is always the case. Now back onwards and upwards to the summit. Well, I made it to the top of Arun Fawddwy, and the clag has cleared. There's some absolutely beautiful views. My head's been a bit of a peculiar place just recently. I've been having trouble sleeping. Not entirely sure what it is. Just feel out of sorts with many things. And I'm sitting up here closer to the edge than I would normally be, because I really don't like heights, and contemplating how quickly I could get back down to the lake down the bottom, which is probably not really something that I should be thinking about at all. It is quite a way down there. Because my head's not quite in the right place at the moment, there's no point in blindly following your plan when you don't really want to do it. So I've decided from Arun Fawddwy to not do the extra 4 miles along the ridge to the next couple of peaks and up to a water spot. Instead of that, I'm going to turn round here and start heading back along another ridge to see the memorial to the RAF rescue guy who was struck by lightning up here that I want to see. So I've still probably got best part of 5 miles to do today. So here we are up to the RAF rescuer memorial. I think the guy's name was Michael Robert Aspain. Struck by lightning up here, and what a view there is down from here down into the valley below. Loads of water erosion down there. Absolutely stunning view. The dappled sunlight on it really showing the relief and the contour lines. Whether you can see the path that runs down diagonally across the other side there, that's the easier path up to Arun Fawddwy. It's just come up to lunchtime, so I've done my lunch stop, got my pasta bolognese on the go and the coffee brewing, and a really pleasant place it is as well. Over behind me there you can hopefully see Arun Fawddwy, where I was earlier. Up that way on the top of the peak there you can see the memorial, and in front of me I've got an absolutely glorious view. Fortunately my head's in a much better place now. I think these views can't help but set your mind at rest, because it is so absolutely splendid being up here, seeing the peaks as far as the eye can see in all direction. Cadair Idris is now really bathed in sunlight, and the Rhinogs are really clear as well, unlike last night. Can't see over to the Snowdon range though from here, there's a hill in the way. But yeah, definitely feeling an awful lot better now. So now I'm on the ridge called Pen Main. Up there, that is Arun Fawddwy, where I was last night. Over slightly to the right, just up there, is the cairn and the memorial to the RAF guy. And I've just walked down from there. If we look over that way, you can see just there, that is the Snowdon range in the distance. And then over there you've got the Rhinogs, and up there you've got Glasgwm, where I'm heading tonight to the lake, the highest body of water above 700 metres in the UK. And then I'm coming down tomorrow down that zigzag path over there. One thing I truly love about walking on days like this, when the sun's out and there are some clouds in the sky, are the way that every time you turn round the landscape has changed. The dappled shade has changed, the relief lines have changed, where the shadows falling on the crevices and things, and I say every time you look it looks different. And it's great to just keep stopping every few minutes and just soaking up the ambience and the verdant greens of where you are. Not just to trek on all the time, but to actually take notice of what's around you and just stop and look, drink it in. It truly is wonderful. Well, a bit of excitement. After 22 hours of walking, I've just met someone. Well, I say met someone, they were 50 yards in the distance, going over a stile on a different path. But besides the chap in the car park at the beginning, that is the first person I've seen on this entire hike and camp. It really is quite desolate up here, but at least there are some passing people. Back on the boardwalk now. Some bits of this path are quite treacherous to try to negotiate. You go off and there's boot sucking marsh, and you stay on these rotten boards, and quite often they sink you below the surface. Just behind me there, you might still be able to hear it, there's a rescue helicopter. Makes you realise how at risk you can be in situations like this. Looks like it's down at the base of Arun Fawddwy. Flew in a few minutes ago and it's been hovering now for about 5 minutes. A bit too far away to see exactly what's going on, but it does make me really appreciate this Garmin InReach, just so that as I am up here on my own, that I can at least call for help even when I'm out of phone signal, which I have been for most of this journey. Although it has to be said, I've also learned that when you reach camp, you can't let the brain of your rucksack fall over the inReach antenna, otherwise it stops transmitting and receiving and nobody knows where you are. So the moral of that is, when you reach camp, make sure that the inReach is somewhere on the top of all your gubbins so that it still works. But it is real peace of mind that should I fall, become medically unwell or somewhat incapacitated, I can at least push the SOS button, and eventually the boys in red and white will turn up to help me, as they have this poor soul. And these people obviously put themselves at risk as well to come and rescue people, not so much in weather like this, but definitely in the worst conditions. So it's up to everybody to try and do their bit to try and be as safe and competent as possible. Right, that was a tough old slog, but I'm just coming up to the top of Glasgwm now. Cairn is in front of me. I'm down to my last 200 mils of water, so I've drunk 4.3 litres of water in the last 24 hours. Fortunately, up here there's LLyn y Fign, the lake. So as much water as you can shake a stick at. So it was a tough old slog up the last couple of 100 metres on a scree slope, and boy do I hate scree. They're slippery underfoot. Right, let's go down and take a look at the lake. Before I make it down to the lake though, just give you a 360 panorama. So this is a fabulous spot. So there's the lake, LLyn y Fign, Cadir Idris, Rhinogs, Snowdon, and Arun, where I was just up. And carrying on round towards the east. It's by no means flat. Still some big mountains over there, just not as high as the ones in northern Snowdonia. Amazing panorama from up here. Feel like I'm on top of the world. Well, I decided I didn't like my original pitch. It was downwind of the lake that meant I'd get a lot of moist air blowing over the tent overnight. And whilst it was very nice by the lake, the breeze meant I was far enough away that I couldn't actually see it without getting out of the tent. So I've just taken an amble up the other end of the lake, and I've decided to pitch here. So put the SCART 1 up, and I'll show you the view out from my tent. There's a view. I think that's quite a nice view. It's a glorious sunny evening. Sun should be going down in an hour and a half or so. I'm in quite a secluded spot over here at this end of the lake, at the west end of the lake, so I'm not too worried about pitching up earlier. So I've pitched up and I'm just going to watch the sun go down. It's absolutely glorious. Compared to last night, that was a bit of a chore. This evening, absolutely glorious. Morning. After the lovely sunrise, the clag has come back in again. While I've been packing up my tent, it's been very moist in the air, but fortunately the sun's starting to burn it off again now. And just breaking camp, last look around, and as always, leave no trace. This is my spot. This is where I was. A little bit of flattened ground. That's it. Hear the sheep bleating in the distance. Now I'm going to head back to the car park. See you soon. The mist is burning off now as the sun is getting a little bit higher, and you can see down into the valley and you realise how high I still am. I was thinking that I must have descended quite a way, but it's still a long way to the valley floor. Whenever I come to Snowdonia, I'm always blown away by how utterly silent it is up here. No birds, not many other people, there's no road sounds. Heard an aircraft this morning actually, and that's the first one that I remember hearing since I've been up here. It is just so utterly tranquil. You can just stop and it is silent, absolutely silent, which really aids good sleep. And I slept pretty well last night. Wind came up in the wee small hours and rattled the tent around a little bit, but nothing that the scarp couldn't handle and nothing that I wasn't happy with. Yeah, another really good night's sleep, and unfortunately I was up to see the dawn before the mist rolled in. For the final descent down to Cwm Cywarch, there's a nice almost paved path, most unlike Snowdon tracks. It's obviously used by the farmer to take his 4x4s or quads up to the top of the hill. And over behind me there's a valley, and down the bottom there, you probably won't be able to see it on the video, but you can actually see the car park, and you can see the orange roof of my eye go down there. So within sight of the end now. And the thing is that these steep downward slopes really play havoc with my knees. In lots of ways I prefer going up rather than coming down. Right, and the last 100 yards or so back to the car park. Walking along the road now. That was thoroughly enjoyable, but also very, very hard work. 7 litres of water consumed, 7 people seen, that's all on the entire time up there, and they were all seen within about an hour and a half of each other along the ridge at the top. 3 battery banks depleted, 3 GoPro batteries depleted, 2.5 drone batteries depleted, and my battery completely depleted. I'm going to get back to the car now, set off, and hopefully I'll be able to find somewhere to get a cooked breakfast on the way back. See you later.